Welcome to the REALL Academy, brought to you each Saturday at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time by the
Systems Doctors,
Dr. Sheka Houston and Dr. Tammy Taylor, best-selling authors, consultants, and speakers of Create and Educate LLC. Create and Educate LLC is an educational consultant and literary firm that provides professional development to schools and community. Their goal is to transform organizations with the REALL Resilient framework used to increase their school report card grades 2 and 3 grade levels in 1 year. REALL stands for Respect, Excellence, Accountability, Literacy, and Leadership. This framework is used to coach leaders and teachers and build student efficacy while putting systems in place that aligns the work of the school improvement, making the process manageable. When the work is manageable, teachers and leaders don't stress out or burn out.
the Systems Doctor.
Alignment systems are designed to help schools evolve and grow, all while instituting protocols and processes designed to promote collaboration and collegiality. The implementation of the alignment framework prevents some of the most common problems in education, where leaders sometimes aren't sure where to start, or in our new age of educating, leaders need a trusted sounding board that allows them to be vulnerable and transparent, preventing loneliness at the top. The framework doesn't just help leaders, but also prevents teachers from burning out from too many initiatives and embracing teachers as they are the experts. Finally, the framework extends to the children, helping them get engaged in school and solving a nationwide problem. Alignment systems are frequently referred to as a key element of success in the improvement process. In the sport of rowing, all rowers must put their oars in the water, succinctly creating a system for their boat to reach maximum speed. So schools that want to improve are bringing in
The Systems Doctors
to teach them all about the alignment systems that must be in place for school improvement to be accomplished at high levels. The dynamic duo provides insights into educational topics through their international platform, which includes educators, parents, and community members as a way to support important entities that make communities thrive. This is their way to pay it forward and provide the support they needed through their platform. Take a look. People who work with the
Systems Doctors.
describe them as an excellent and inspiring group of leaders. They get into the weeds of work with leaders through their TrustMate Institute that you should contact them about today by filling out the contact form on their website.
It's Super Saturday, everyone. Welcome to episode 191 of the REALL Academy, brought to you by Create and Educate with your very own Systems Doctors, HERS. I am Dr. Sheka Houston.
And I am Dr. Tammy Taylor. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Sheka.
Good morning, Tammy. If this is your first time tuning in, we create experiences that educate so you can thrive through systematic processes using our REAL framework that you see at the top of the screen and over our shoulders, and our REAL formula.
Yes, we can do this by teaching from our own lived experiences of raising our school report cards 2 and 3 levels in just a single year at the elementary and middle levels using our framework, which is rooted in research-based principles that we have known to work.
Definitely. And when we start this work with staff members, we definitely speak around centering our message around belief, because it really starts there. If you don't believe that children can do great things, then people in your building will not hold them to high expectations. So for many staff members, they need to hear our "it's being done" message that includes our own story that Tammy just alluded to. It helps to get people motivated, gets them empowered. This is one of the ways that I motivated my staff members just by keeping that information in front of them that it has been done, it's being done, and it will continue to be done if you're doing the right work. So, if this is a message that your staff needs, along with the tools and the resources, then you can also qualify to be the next It's Being Done school. You can contact us on our website through the contact us form. So, if you don't mind, please like, share, subscribe, send stars, comment, do all of the things that the platforms do in order to help us build these algorithms.
Yes, please. And as Sheka said, it's very easy to motivate staff members to do the work when you can show them that the work is being done and you're the ones that are doing it. That's kind of the approach that we took. And I would show them exactly how we were progressing from where we are, because we were a school in the depths of school improvement. So please know that the work is being done, has been done, and can be done. So please also know that each episode every Saturday that we bring to you is a part of our live stream network, the Fantastic Four. And that starts on Saturday mornings at 10 a.m. with Principal Sean Hurt, who we heard this morning talking about that work-life balance, which is so important. Then you come to us at 10:30, yours truly, Create and Educate with the REALL Academy. And then at 10:55, the Leader's Mentor and the GOAT, AP and New Principals Academy with Principal Kafele, who mentors us all. And then on Sunday evenings, the PGP podcast with Dr. Moreno and Principal Josh Tovar.
Most definitely. And shout out to Principal Hurt for filling in for us last week. And also, shout out to Miss Deborah Gill, who brought us in for the Baptist Association program that we did on generational connections and bridging the generational divide in the church. So that was a phenomenal session with that group. Shout out to everyone who was in attendance and took back some great information in order to start bridging those generational gaps in the church. So thank you, Principal Hurt. You know, we always appreciate you. He was talking good this morning, and we know that he talked good last week, filling in for us.
And thank you so much, because we were trying to do what we needed to do, and it just did not work out for us. So we do appreciate you being big brother and stepping in there for us to make sure that everything and that everybody received, because we know that you did the do. So thank you so much. And I think I want to echo Sheka that experience last Saturday was a very, very powerful one. We had people in attendance from 7, 8-year-olds to our most seasoned seniors. And the conversations were absolutely incredible. So we are very, very grateful for the opportunity to have been a part of that.
Right. And not just in attendance, but hearing their voice, hearing from the youngest generation to the oldest what they need and what they do in church. It, like Tammy said, it was really, really powerful. So that is something that we do with our generational work with churches. So that has started to pick up and is phenomenal as well. We do the same thing in schools with generational studies work, teaching staff members how to teach to the specific generations, because that work is very important as well. But as we were just talking about our big brother looking out for us, it's important to be a part of a real fam. So it's real fam shout out time, and we appreciate Principal Hurt and all of you for being here. So we are moving to that, and I'm going to put the comments up after I shout everybody out. Pedrick is out.
I'll put them up, Chick.
Okay.
Okay.
So we have I don't want to mispronounce that first part. So Ben Tab, I hope I'm saying that correctly. Tashika Truesdale out of Atlanta, Georgia. Chancellor Rashard Davis out of Las Vegas. Good morning to everybody. The one and only Dot McKeever Jeter. Good morning. She is from Illinois. Thank you for joining us. AP Patrick Lawrence from Connecticut. Melissa Jones Chunu, our sister from Oklahoma. The boss educator who is out in Mississippi, and she also has a retreat coming up. So if you have not looked at the information for her retreat, make sure you look into that. I know it's going to be boss and it's going to be phenomenal. Also, David Bell from Benton Harbor, Michigan. Thank you for joining us. Principal Sean Hurt, our big brother. Thank you for joining us. And Professor Laws up there in Greenville, North Carolina. We appreciate you. Constance Sherrard from Pearl, Mississippi. Thank you for joining us. Kiara Jenkins from Marion, South Carolina. Good to see you, and thank you for joining us. Our other brother in this work, Josh Tovar, Fantastic Four family member. Thank you for joining us. And the mentor for us all, Principal Kafele. We appreciate you always. Thank you for joining us. Valerie Macy, thank you for joining us. Crystal Wallace, and I believe, September Devance Vance Daniel, our queen out on the West Coast, Jasmine Harris. Thank you for joining us, and I think I got everybody. We appreciate you all so
Miss
much.
Green is on here.
Oh, we're okay. Let me go back up. Miss Green, charge it to my head and not my heart. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate
Edwin's
you,
on here.
sister, always. Did I miss anybody else, Tammy?
Edwin Garcia is on here.
Oh, okay. Oh, I didn't go down far enough. Okay, Edwin Garcia, thank you for joining us. We
And then, of
appreciate
course,
you
our
all.
girl Stacy. We didn't.
Stacy L. Joy, yes, and Doc Blackwell Timothy. I think that's who that is. Thank you for joining us. We appreciate you.
Them too. Hey, y'all. Thank you, everybody, for joining.
Most definitely. We appreciate each and every one of you. You could be anywhere, but you are intentional about being here, and we could not be more thankful. So,
Absolutely.
yes. So that brings us to episode 191 of the Real Academy, Accountability for Solid Tier 1 Instruction.
And if you hear us say something really, really good this morning, Real Fam, we want you to drop a real in the comments if it resonates with you.
Most definitely. And so, not last week, but week before last, we talked about shifting that mindset of the why behind MTSS. If we start looking at multi tiered systems of support, and Principal Hurt this morning talked about that support for social and emotional learning, multi tiered systems of support, shifting away from being a machine to get children into special services or to receive special services, if we look at multi-tier systems of support to strengthen tier 1, that shifts the mindset to where it needs to be. The focus really needs to be on solid tier 1 instruction. And on that episode, someone asked the question, how do you hold people accountable? What does that even look like? So many would say, well, that's easy. It starts with lesson plans. But as Principal Kafele tells us all, you can't just jump straight into singing these love songs now. We got to, make sure we put some work in on the front end. And so with our formula, that starts with the messaging of the what first is accountability for tier 1. And the messaging is that people have to understand the why behind what you're doing.
Definitely. And as Sheka said, we want to cancel those pipelines of just making MTSS this process for a referral system out of tier 1, because the shift has to occur that allows us to create that buffet that we talked about during that episode week before last, that every student has equitable access to tier 1 instruction. That is what all students are entitled to, and that's what we believe should happen. That's where the instruction is taking place. So just because most of our students spend most of their day in tier one instruction, we're going to today unpack what Sheka was just talking about looks like for you.
Most definitely. And it starts with creating a profile of your students in your district or your school. For us, being in a district of promise, schools of promise, in a small rural area, we frequently have teachers come in from the outside to teach our students outside of our area who don't live here, who aren't from here, who are not familiar with the students and things that have happened here. So the profile is essential because you have to tell people who your students are. Um, and I always start off with these students are phenomenal. We have students from every end of the spectrum. They receive services in GT and honors. Some of them, because of COVID or sometimes from not having solid tier one instruction, have fallen 2 or 3 grade levels behind. In some instances, they want to learn. I always stress that my children want to learn, and I know this because they come to me to get me when they don't think things are going well in their classrooms. Miss Houston, can you come to this class this period? Because I'm not learning anything in this class, or the behavior and the classroom management is not where it needs to be. These are the children coming to make sure I know where the hot spots are. So children want to learn, and I emphasize that to people who come to my building to teach to serve the students.
And that's really important. Like you have to be able to hear, of course, from the children. But I wanted to just go back to something that you were saying because I think it's important for us to really maybe spend a little bit of time with that. Why kids are sometimes behind and why
Mhm.
it's our responsibility to
Mhm.
make sure that they get caught up. In your um, reference just a moment ago, you talked about how they could be that far behind because of COVID. And
Mhm.
we are still recovering from children who were home during that time, and some families who elected to keep their kids home for a year or two after that. So, there are gaps that have to be filled in, and it's time that has to be made up from there. But when you're looking on the lower end of the um, K-12 spectrum and you're looking at pre-K children and kindergarten children, it may not have been COVID that has them 2 or 3 ages behind in their development. It could be just a lack of exposure to the
Mhm.
things that you need to know coming into a school. Because I'm gonna be completely honest with you, and I always say to you all, and I say it to my staff, hats off to teachers. Teachers are crucial in this whole discussion of what we're having today because where is tier one?
Mhm.
In the classroom. So we
Exactly.
really want to make sure that we are thinking about teaching and what that means, because if you are a person that has any experience with dealing with elementary age children, especially in the early elementary grades, you know that what kindergarten looked like for us is completely different. You're talking about a first at the least grade experience from the past. You're looking at things in kindergarten now that children in first and second grade used to learn. So there's a shift that has occurred in what's expected of children. We have to make that make sense for parents, because when a parent brings a child to school who has had no experience at all
Mhm.
except at home, and most of the time have only engaged with some kind of electronic device, that child comes to school with a deficit that the parent doesn't even understand. So
Right.
it takes a lot for us, and I'm glad that you mentioned making sure that we are addressing those deficits, and that has to occur during that tier one instruction. And I want you to go on and kind of take us through that process, because this is your area of expertise.
Definitely. And I do want to answer Professor Law's question. How do you establish a culture where children are coming to you for that type of support? And that was always through my town hall meetings. Children would hear my voice every morning about what the vision was, what the expectations were. And I mentioned that my expectation for them was to definitely be respectful, be attentive, because we couldn't reach the vision if they were not learning. And anything that was not happening in the classroom that should be happening, that was my job. You come tell me. You email me. You come get me. I'm going to take care of that, or somebody from my admin staff is going to take care of it. And they would come tell me. They would see me in the hall. They would email me, and I would know exactly what was going on, because I wanted them to know that high expectations is something that we should all have, not just
Mhm.
me. I only have two sets of eyes. I need eyes everywhere in the building. And so the children a lot of times were those eyes. Some of it was other staff members coming to let me know things that were not up to par, because in a small rural area sometimes people don't come for the right reasons, and you
That's
have to make sure that they understand the assignment. And the assignment for our school was growth.
And I think, don't you think too that a lot of the comfort level with a child being able to come to you with concerns really goes back to the relationships that are built in the building, and that safeguard that they feel like they have to be
Mhm.
able to express themselves. I had one yesterday who came in. He said, I had to get out of this situation, and teacher, and that's the thing that I love about my staff here. Teacher called up and said he needs to get away, and I'm gonna send him if you were able to take him. I said, send him on down. Well, when he got down here, he unloaded. This is happening, and this is happening, and this is why I can't hardly stand what is going on, But that requires that the children trust you, and they
Yes.
know that when they come to you with something, you're going to respond in a way that makes them know, yep, she has my back. But not
Mhm.
does she just have my back, she also has the back of everybody in this school. And the kids also have to understand, and I think this is again a part of the relationship building that takes place. They need to understand that I will have your back. I'm gonna have your back all the way. But what you cannot do is sit in class and not do what you're supposed to do. You can't be in class disrespecting my teachers, because guess what? I have their backs too. We're all in
Mhm.
this together, and it only works if we're working as a team.
Exactly. And that visibility plan, I made sure that everybody who had anything to do with our school saw me, from making sure my presence was known in the car line. I didn't just go to one car line throughout the week. I was at different car lines. One day of the week, I was at the bus line, or different parts of the week. So my visibility plan made sure that I am seen all over the building, and also getting in the classroom. So children knew that I was coming, that I was in there. And even when I had to go to the meetings, from what Josh calls the ivory tower meetings, they would know if I would be gone more than one day. Where you been? Where you the principal at? Why you ain't been here? They knew, if I wasn't there. Even if I would try to trick them and call in and do my morning announcements, have somebody hold the phone up. I didn't want them to know, but they would figure it out, because they knew that I was always visible. So all of those things matter, and this is probably gonna have to be a part two, because the other thing that we would do to make sure people understood the assignment and where we were is that alumni wall, making sure they knew that great things came from our area and come from our area. the admin team also did their due diligence on the front end because Tammy talked about that buffet last week. We can't have the teachers in the kitchen all day trying to prepare this meal for solid tier one instruction. You got to narrow that down to make it something that the teachers can really do. So we did our due diligence to make sure that students were not grouped so far apart that it was impossible for teachers to, try to be able to get them what they needed in that solid tier one instruction.
For sure.
And then the process, Tammy, you think we're gonna have time or
Um, Go ahead. Go, you do it. This is your expertise.
so when you get to the process, now we're looking at the who and the how, and then the where, and that's where we are looking at these lesson plans. We have to teach our teachers to be more intentional about our lesson planning. It can't just be, okay, here's the hook, here's the learning target, here's the standard, these are the activities. When we say that we're holding teachers accountable for tier one instruction, we mean that they show on their lesson plans that, you're showing how this is culturally relevant access because you need to be able to access that background knowledge. And it needs to be grade level access, but it also needs to be if the child needs accommodations, you have to show how you're providing those accommodations. If you have children who are tier two and tier three, you have to show how you're providing them access to tier one instruction through wherever they are. Wherever they are on the spectrum, your access needs to be shown in that lesson plan. And so that's how we are holding them accountable, but also that we are making sure that it's relevant. It's relevant to the careers that they want to go into, but also the careers that they need to know about that they may have never heard. So it's
Right.
exposure as well. So
And not
all of
just
that.
relevance, it's got to be evidence. Like I had a conversation with one of my teachers this week, and one of the things that I was sharing with her is when anybody comes into your room, you never want them guessing about what it is that's happening in there. Yes, I can see the learning targets, I can see the I can statements, but I want to see evidence by way of what's happening with these kids of what it is that we say is happening in the room. So we have to be very intentional, and planning, like Sheka said, is the first part of that.
Most definitely. So we appreciate you all, your questions, your comments. This has been a great discussion. We hope that you all have a great Easter weekend. This is our spring break. So if you've already had spring break, I hope you enjoyed it. If this is your spring break, please make sure you all disconnect.
Rest and have a good
Yes,
one.
rest and enjoy. So
Yes.
please join us on Principal Kafele's page next, and make sure you tune in on Sunday. I think Josh and Dr. Moreno will be on. So let us know, Josh, and we will see you all next week. Have a great rest of your Saturday,
Thank
everyone.
you.